Alrighty then, September of 2018, the DJI Osmo Pocket hit store shelves. This was DJI's first smallest 3-axis handheld gimbal that was actually pocket size. Therefore, it's able to quickly adjust and adapt to uneven terrain, movement in real time to give your footage a very smooth look. But real quick, I by no way was endorsed by DJI for the making of this video. I simply went out my way, purchased this like a normal consumer, and I'm just gonna review it like it is, based from my overall experience with this product. I originally bought this camera to see if it could replace my previous setup, to replace my DJI Osmo Mobile 2 for its much smaller size. And oh boy was I wrong. Let me elaborate a bit more on why. But first, I think it's appropriate to talk about specs, starting with the price though. Right now it's retailing for around $350, and on the scales, it hardly weighs anything at 116 grams. And can shoot at 4K at 60 FPS. Of 100 megabits per second, perfect for when shooting cinematic shots, and also does full 1080p at 120 FPS. It does have a 1.5 inch 12 megapixel camera sensor with a lens that offers at least 80 degrees field of view and has an aperture of f.2. So the specs are good, it's very modern, but not really impressive for a camera with this price tag, since even budget phones can now shoot 4K. But with that said, putting these specs into the test under real world condition, it shoots really good. The colors look color accurate, the gimbal does an excellent job adapting to our footsteps, and if we do a quick side-by-side comparison against to my previous setup, the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 equipped with my iPhone 10, the two shots side by side look almost identical when it comes to walking motion. Although I have noticed the white balance on the Osmo Pocket can sometimes be very aggressive, and would sometimes cause some of my shots to be ruined because of this. I never once faced this white balance issue on my iPhone 10 when using the Mobile 2. As you can actually easily tell, the differences are almost night and day. Now, just like how DJI promoted this with their promotion ads for the Pocket, I wanted to see how easy it is to create some epic cinematic looking shots. So navigating through the Mimo app, the settings, everything is really easy to access, and this is the finishing results with light painting. And this is without any ND filters. Now imagine if we had that. But where it did failed on me was when I was trying to get a cool shopping cart motion time lapse that you would sometimes see on like TV ads. So securing the Pocket on the shopping cart was tape, making sure everything was sturdy. It wasn't the gimbal that was having the issues. If you look closely, this part of the image, the quality, everything looks normal. It's just this upper piece. It's causing the sensors to shake and stretch the image for some reason. And I made sure I had the smoothest shopping cart I could use to make this. It was just really strange that I saw this stretch motion on the Pocket. But when it comes to taking all the other stuff that this thing can do, like those pano shots, time lapse, motion time lapse, slow motion, video, and of course photo. But the panoramic shots, I was quite amazed, because in the past with my Osmo Mobile 2, against going back to that, I had to place it on a flat surface. With this, on the other hand, it's so stable that you can actually hold it on your hand, just off your hand. You don't have to place it on a flat surface, and it will take that shot. And the software that DJI integrated to this thing could easily stitch all the image together, so if you do move just a bit, it's always gonna line up, and this is actually quite impressive. Now, if you may have noticed, most of my shots, my footage I've been shooting, my phone was not attached to the Pocket. That's because I usually try to avoid doing this, because not only does the camera get hot, but I also don't like that you have to remove the case on your smartphone, and even once you connect it to the port, even though it does have a strong connection to the port, I don't know how they've managed to keep it so tight like this, but it's extremely wobbly, which makes it extremely challenging placing this on a flat surface, of course depending on what kind of phone you're using. But for me, I don't like doing this because it's not really secure and it could easily tip over. So I might try to just shoot all my footage like this on the go. It's really handy, and plus, even though it doesn't have a tripod mount underneath this thing without buying other attachments, This thing on its own, it's extremely well balanced. You can just place this on any flat surface and it'll shoot whatever you wanted to shoot at. But if you do attach this to your smartphone, you could always do this method on attaching your phone to the tripod and just have this attached to it on the side. The only time I mainly would connect it to my phone is when I actually have to manually adjust the camera setting to capture some sick shots like this. But the beauty about the Pocket that I really do like, as soon as you adjust the settings, you could then easily just unplug it, and then all the settings you adjust will save to the camera. So you can simply just place it down, hit record, and whatever setting you left it on, it will then start shooting. It's only when you switch to other modes is when everything will reset to normal, and you have to do it all over again if you want those manual settings. Now I do like this little small touchscreen that this DJI Osmo has. It makes navigating through your settings really easy. You could replay some of your previously shot footage and view it off the little viewfinder here. You can also switch between modes, and you can also change the resolution. You just can't do the manual settings. That, once again, you have to attach it to your phone if you want to go in depth to adjust those things. The only issue that I actually experienced with this viewfinder is that the footage that you see off the screen right here, it's actually a cropped version of what you're actually shooting, which makes it extremely challenging to make sure the subject you're trying to record is in center. So this Osmo Pocket does have face tracking, which works okay at times. For example, I took this thing to the gym a few times already to record my workout to see how my form is and maybe possibly share this on social media. But I noticed as soon as I place this thing down with the active track enabled, if you get too far away, it easily will lose track of you. Or if you move your face to the right to the point where you're not making eye contact to the gimbal, it would just stop and just face whatever position it was last facing and would just lose you. And if you move out, not really quick, but just quick enough, the camera is really slow to really re-recognize you to start retracking. And if you take it outdoors, if you're walking underneath a shade and you get out of that shade, that aggressive white balance that it has would just black out your entire screen, and the active track would just lose you again. So you have to constantly keep your eyes on the screen to make sure you're in the center and it's actually doing a good job tracking you. And this is annoying because it's not really guaranteed to work. This was never an issue that I faced with the Mobile 2. But a method that I developed and found out, if you have your Osmo fully extended, like you have to fully extend out your arm, it'll actually have an easier time tracking you and retracking you if you do go under shade. It's not guaranteed because most of the time I'm still looking back at the viewfinder, making sure it's still tracking correctly. But when vlogging on the go like this is gonna become uncomfortable and just feels really awkward. But with that small size that this Pocket Osmo can offer, I really do like bringing this with me, especially in crowded areas, because it's really minimalistic, it's low key, I don't even think anybody will even notice that this thing is even a camera to begin with. They probably think it's just a voice recorder or something. So it's really easy to take in with you in stores without employees going after you saying, hey, stop recording and all that stuff. It's when in these situations I really do appreciate this camera. But there is one thing that I noticed that the Pocket doesn't have that the Mobile 1 and 2 has. There's no broadcast support. On the Mobile 2, you're able to broadcast using cellular. It would have been cool if they integrated broadcast mode, because I actually know a few vloggers actually vlog on the go to their social media platforms using the Mobile 2, and using the Pocket would have been definitely a huge advantage because it's less bulky to travel with, and when you have it attached to your phone, you can utilize this cellular reception to broadcast like you would on the Mobile 2. This might be a future update, who knows, but currently as it sits, there's no live support for the Pocket. But then again, I wouldn't really recommend using it for this unless you have an external microphone, which by the way is sold separately. But the audio quality that this microphone picks up sounds okay. Although it is technically stereo, there is a microphone that faces the front end right here, and there's one down here. But here's a clip for you to get an understanding. These guys are having fun over here. While all the other food trucks aren't even playing music. Look at it, these guys don't have any music in the background. Only the taco truck, of course. But that's how you throw a party. So compare that to other flagship phones, the sound quality isn't really good. It's doable. Yeah, it's definitely doable, but not the best. Most, or nowadays, all flagship phones now come equipped with way better sounding microphones. Now, another nifty feature that this camera has is slow-mo. It can shoot slow-mo at 120 FPS. But again, compared to our flagship phones, my iPhone for example, although it's the older model, it's still able to shoot at 240 FPS. But this isn't one of the issues I'm facing. I noticed when you shoot at slow-mo off the gimbal, it actually crops in and just lowers the resolution for some reason. It seems like I'm shooting at 720p. Compared to my iPhone, it gives you full 1080p and it's shooting at a ridiculously slow FPS, or fast FPS, shooting slow. Just take a look at these two side-by-side comparison. The differences in clarity, it's almost night and day. And don't even get me started about the focus. Like, I watched a lot of other reviews videos before I purchased this, but that was before the update, the recent patch, which claimed to have fixed this. I still experience this. Even on the latest firmware, I'm usually having a hard time shooting B-roll shots because it's always out of focus. This camera has a hard time just focusing on whatever is right in front of it for some reason. You might have noticed this clip from a previous video. I attempted doing this multiple times and I just included it because it wasn't worth redoing it 20 times already. So I had no choice to go along with it, so thank you for bearing with this bad focus issues. But in an outdoor environment, recording larger size objects, I don't ever experience this focusing issue. Larger subjects and a larger field, usually the focus is mostly on point. So it works really well out here. But overall, I think this Osmo Pocket, it's actually really well thought out. I mean, the design, believe it or not, this gimbal, although it might look flimsy, it's actually really sturdy compared to the DJI gimbal drones. Traveling case that this thing comes included with, it's pretty thought out as well, as there's openings for the charging ports, which by the way charges with a USB-C cable, which they also provide, and it has an opening right here for the multi-connector, just in case you have it equipped. And if you want to take it out, but you don't want to remove it, you could actually fold it in like so you could easily grip it on your hand, without having to deal with the little connection port sticking out. And the battery life that this thing is able to have, with a single charge, this thing is able to last me throughout the entire day, recording constantly for at least 15 minutes, and it charges back up really quick. But one thing to quickly note, although they do throw in the two different connectors for this port, well, three, this is just a cover, but they give us a lightning port adapter to work with iOS devices, and they give us a USB-C for other Android phones to support this port. But there's no support for micro USB, and DJI doesn't have plans to do so in the future, as I encountered this post from a DJI rep saying that they're not going to release one for the micro USB port. So micro USB, guys, your luck is kind of out. You need to upgrade to USB-C. And I do not recommend picking up a USB-C to micro USB adapter because this will create unnecessary sag and could damage both devices. So overall, who do I think this camera is for? I think this is good for the average consumer. If you're looking for a way to replace your smartphone, maybe preserve some battery life, or no longer needing to use up storage on your smartphone, the impressively quick boot up time that this camera can do allows you to capture family moments really quickly. The Pocket's definitely a good choice. The small size just makes traveling with it a lot more convenient than it is carrying this big old gimbal that I usually take along with me during some of my trips. I know vloggers will also get a good use for this, especially when it comes to vlogging, let's say Black Friday, without causing a distraction. Like I said, this is really minimalistic, it's low key, nobody will even notice that you're recording. The only true con I have with this, yeah, the active track sucks, but something with this price tag should at least, in my opinion, have built-in Bluetooth out of the box. This way you don't have to plug it into your phone and you can live view your viewfinder off your smartphone display without having it connected to the Osmo. Now, I am aware DJI does have a adapter for this. If you want to make the DJI Pocket wireless with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you got to pick up an adapter, but come on. This thing got released 2018, it's now 2019. Everything to toothbrushes, even nowadays some toasters even have built-in Bluetooth, so this doesn't really have that much of an excuse. So for me personally, for my needs, my opinion, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and exchange this for a GoPro Hero 7 because it has all that already built into it. And after watching a bunch of different comparison videos that there is on YouTube, whatever witchcraft or sorcery that the Hero 7 has, it has some sort of weird tech that allows it to be as stable as it is to something like this thing with a 3-axis gimbal. So I'm gonna go ahead and possibly do that. But I'll also love to hear your thoughts, your opinion about the Pocket. Are you gonna go ahead and pick one up? Do you love it? Are you gonna go ahead and wait for the 2nd generation Pocket until they fix all these issues? I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. But before we end this video, here's some clips of some footage that are directly out of a Pocket with no edit done to it whatsoever. Let's see what the vast majority of you guys think about its video quality.